Hi everyone, I'm Dragos, and in this project, I'm building a miter saw table with a fence and a precision track system. What I need from this table is mobility, take up the least amount of space in my small shop garage, and be able to be precise and quick whenever I'm cutting something, especially if I'm cutting things repeatedly. Mobility wise, I actually put it on casters. So I took this cabinet, put some casters on it, and then attached everything to it. And now it's easy to maneuver around. It needs to take the least amount of space, but it can't be too small because otherwise it wouldn't be too useful. So for me, it's about 3 to 4 feet on each side. That takes care of most projects that I have. The rest I can handle with an extra sawhorse or table. But yeah, that shouldn't be an issue. From the precision and quickness standpoint, that's where the fence comes in. And for the fence, it has to be accurate, it has to be square, level with the table, and then the stop blocks and the measuring tape on the fence will take care of all the quickness and measurements for you so you can focus on your project and move forward. Without making this look like an unboxing video, I just want to briefly show you what the Kreg precision track system looks like out of the box. First, the instructions. Well, nobody needs those instructions, right? We'll throw them away, but really just kidding. We'll be right back to them in a few seconds. This is well made. Some may even say this is a sign of reliability. Everything seems very accurate, well made, very good to the touch, and I think it's important since you're going to be moving this around over and over again. All of the pieces seem very well suited for the heavy-duty tasks. There are a few good track systems out there in this price range, and you can build your own or piece it together yourself. However, I really like what you get for the price, and I am limited on time. It's very important you read through the instructions of whatever system you end up buying, even if it's a simple T-Trak. They are all very specific measurements and material thicknesses, so really pay attention to those, and it will save you time in the long run. You don't have to say, should have read the part and would have saved materials and time. This is what we're building here, the table that lines up with the saw. My fence or backboard was much thicker than a 3/4 inch, and they recommend it, so I had to cut half a lap joint section out of the top of the fence so that the T-Trak can fit and rest on a 3/4 inch. And while my backboard rests on the table as shown here, I wanted more storage, so for my table I will cut legs to fit instead of building a box that will close all of the space. This may be a feature you're glad you had later on, or your materials may need the extra reinforcement from the box design. Just depends on your choice. Really excited about this. I'm using reclaimed office furniture. It was free. It's going to end up in the landfill. I really encourage you to find a nice deal like this. Some offices, they'll just give this stuff away because they're redesigning, and could be such a waste. And I mean, look at this. It's more than 1 inch thick. It's particle board. It's really nicely reinforced, straight, and it's going to do the trick. A few of these, then now they're the same width. They're already cut. They're already manufactured. This is perfect. So after measuring this board, figured out I just needed about 1 foot for the table itself. The rest I can use for the fence. So I just need to rip this into a few pieces, cut it in half, and have half of it for one side and half of it for the other. I traced it on the table, measured out the angles from the saw table. Now let's get to cutting. Watch out for this little flare on each side of the saw table. You have to basically cut your fence around it. Most saws have this type of flare. Nothing to worry about, just cut around it, and you don't have to make it super pretty. Basically just needs to fit around it and get to the actual saw table. For this cut, I'm using a Japanese pull saw. You can use other saws, you can use a jigsaw as well, or a bandsaw, but for me this needed to be quick and flexible saw is amazing, and it's a pretty thin blade too. There's a link to it in the description. Please use it to support the channel. Thanks. So now the table's taking shape. Right now we need the table legs so that we can actually create some storage underneath on each side for during a project. Measure those legs by taking the height of the saw table and then subtracting the thickness of the tabletop, and what you should have left over is the height of your legs. And now it's time to just rearrange the legs, kind of figure out the pattern that works for your tabletop. Mine is thick enough that it only needs 3 rows of legs so that I maximize the storage underneath. I didn't want any sort of resistance whenever I moved pieces of wood on top of the table from the table saw to the actual table, so I kept on trying out different pieces to make sure that they're level. Tabletop is pretty thick, it's starting to sag now. It will need some extra 2x4s to hold the ends, at least when I'm not using it. Hopefully my my dust goggles don't distract you too much. Now it's time for all the pocket holes for the fence. I tried to put in the fence first by attaching it to the table underneath, but that didn't work out well because the screws kept on moving it around. So I went the route of building a square table first and then attaching that to the table underneath. To square up this table, I use these Woodpecker's aluminum alloy square clamps. They take a second to set up, but it's well worth it for the precision that they provide, and they hold your stuff in place.
So I use this level that's made out of plastic, and what I figured out is that the longer it is, the more it will actually bend. So if you're trying to use it to line up something vertically, I would say use something that bends way less. So either a level made out of aluminum framing or a piece of aluminum or steel that you know is already straight. Be careful when you clamp the table down because it might actually change the pitch of the table. So you have to be really careful so that you don't bow it or incline it somehow. Make sure everything's still level. And that's it for this part. Part 2, we'll finish up the left side of the table, and then we're going to start installing the Trak and the measuring tape. So far so good. This is all level. It levels out both with the fence as well as the table, and I'm very happy with it. I can't wait to see what questions you may have. I am happy to answer anything and to add more details. And I hope that this helped you or inspired you to build your own. If so, please subscribe and I will post more every week.